Imagine you're a full professor applying to be the chair of your department. You have a strong CV, excellent teaching evals, you've served on college committees and received numerous grants. This position, however, requires that you step away from what you know best and enter a new world of budgets, negotiation, conflict management, and strategy discussions. Now imagine that as part of the vetting process, you are required to put together a department budget, coach someone struggling in the P&T process, present a strategic growth plan to the provost, meet with 2 disgruntled faculty members, and lead a group meeting of other department heads, all while being watched by trained observers who take notes on your every action or inaction. You finish the day and leave knowing that a group of psychologists will talk behind your back about your analysis and judgment, your interpersonal acumen, your navigation of confrontation, and your presentation skills. And their conclusions are better predictors of your future success or lack of success on the job than an interview. What you just experienced is an assessment center, which is a process and not a physical location. An assessment center is a standardized set of exercises that is designed to simulate different aspects of a job and to elicit behaviors similar to those needed to be successful. Raters then draw conclusions about a person's skills and abilities to perform the role. It's a very robust method for selecting effective leaders who need to adapt to different situations, find solutions to problems, work as part of a team, and lead people. While a typical interview is a great method to assess organizational fit, the predictive validity of an interview is modest, particularly for leadership positions, which is complex and with fewer tangible outputs. Consider how athletes are recruited. Scouts watch someone play over a series of games and select an athlete who performs consistently in a variety of situations. That makes much more sense than interviewing a player and asking, "Are you a good player?" To which the player likely answers, "I'm one of the best." And therein lies the problem with the interview approach. For all but the least talented recruits, it's easy for people to give answers that are not accurate or useful. What are 3 positive things your boss would say about you is a common question. Do you work well as part of a team? What are your strengths? And a personal favorite, if you were an animal, what animal would you be? The setting is World War II. In 1943, the Office of Strategic Services wants to find a better way to select spies than the haphazard approach being used. A group of psychologists, psychiatrists, and soldiers create a process that places recruits in a variety of spy-like situations. The goal? To predict which recruits will make the best spies and who will likely fail. The result is S Station, located in Fairfax, Virginia, a cloak and dagger assessment center. Recruits are given Army fatigues. They're transported in a closed truck to a country house and instructed to spread a cover story about their backgrounds. Trained observers then watch their every move for 3 days. Recruits are taken outside in small groups and told to transport items across the stream with available resources. They examine a map and have to recreate it from memory. They develop a plan to kill a mayor, they interrogate a prisoner, and they help an injured soldier get past a sentry. And that's just on the first day. Other situations include developing a plausible excuse when caught breaking into a room, preparing a 2-minute propaganda radio broadcast, recovering critical papers from a fallen agent's luggage, and the liquor test to see if a recruit can maintain his or her wits when alcohol is flowing freely. Observers take notes on predetermined competencies, such as motivation, emotional stability, stress tolerance, social relations, maintaining cover, observation and reporting, and propaganda skills. Every recruit's behavioral consistency or inconsistency is discussed, and a consensus decision is reached about effectiveness in the field. Over 5,000 recruits were intensively studied at S Station. Recruits who performed well were recommended to work stateside, overseas, or behind enemy lines. The U.S. and its allies started receiving higher quality information, and more spies returned alive from missions and overseas postings. The assessment center method worked. After the war, scientists decided to see if using the same spy selection methods would result in better selections of managers. A seminal study took place at AT&T in the 1950s called the Management Progress Study. Psychologists Bray and Grant conducted a longitudinal study of 400 new managers. Each manager participated in a 2-day assessment center. Based on exercise results, their progress at AT&T was predicted, and the predictions were locked away. After 8 years, performance data on the managers were gathered, and analysis showed that initial assessment of performance predicted organizational achievement. The technique spread, and over 2,000 U.S. companies and agencies now use the assessment center method. Companies use them to hire new managers, make promotion decisions, identify training and development needs, and select people for expatriate assignments. With the advent of computers, assessment centers have become more technologically advanced, but the key aspects of an assessment center remain the same. Assessment centers are one of the most objective selection methods available and are rarely challenged in lawsuits because adverse impact and bias issues are minimized. Well-designed assessments, however, are time-intensive and expensive, and they require subject matter experts to construct the simulations, train the role players and observers, and integrate the data. For the past 20 years at the Haslam College of Business, we run an assessment center each January for our incoming executive MBA students. Over the course of 3 weekends, over 100 business leaders meet with Blair Stone, and they receive real-time feedback on their leadership, confrontation, team building, communication, decision-making, and problem-solving skills. I was fortunate enough to learn the science of assessment centers from a descendant of the S Station masterminds. Psychologists Bray and Grant worked with S Station, who trained Dr. Robert Ladd, who trained me. I'm a grandchild of S Station. My doctoral research and professional experiences were centered on the assessment center method. So why do I thank Julia Child? During World War II, Julia worked for the OSS, eventually serving overseas in Sri Lanka and China as an intelligence agent. Julia took part in the original S Station exercises, which was the foundation of contemporary assessment centers. And for Julia's part in my education, I give her my thanks.